Hello everyone and welcome to my leadership communications presentation. My name is Justin Bailey and today I'd like to talk about the basics of MRI. I work with GE Healthcare, and my profession, I work with magnetic resonance imaging on a daily basis. So the first thing I want to talk about is the components of an MRI machine. And the most important structure of the MRI is the bore. And in the bore holds all the components of an MRI machine that scans the patient and transmits an image. A lot of people get confused when they go to get a CT or an MRI. I know my dad just recently got scanned, and I asked him, I was like, well, did you have an MRI or a CT? And he had no idea, but it turns out it was an MRI. But a lot of people, they don't know the difference. But one thing about a MRI is the bore, which is the main part of the magnet. It contains a magnet gradient coil, a Shim coil, and an RF coil. Now the magnet itself is the most important part of an MRI. That's why it's called magnetic resonance imaging. Most of the magnets that are out today are 1.5 Tesla, and they go up to 3 Tesla. To put that in perspective, Earth's gravity is between 15 and 25 microtesla. So it's a lot more powerful than Earth's gravity, and it will suck any kind of metal into the bore, and it will not give it up. I had a 5-pound weight go into the bore one time, and it took 5 grown men to pull that out with a rope, and we were straining as hard as we could. There are several different types of magnets. There's superconducting, resistive, and permanent. Most commonly used magnet in MRI is a superconducting magnet. One of the main components of the MRI magnet is the gradient coil. And the gradient coil produces a magnetic field pretty much all over. When a person goes into the magnet bore, it's magnetic all over their body. So what a gradient coil does is focus the magnetic field strength to one part of your body. So if you're going in and you're getting your knee scanned, it's going to help focus the magnetic field onto the knee, where the MRI tech is focusing the beam, if you call it a beam, on the knee, so you can have different scans at different angles, and you can basically bend the field to your will. So another part of the magnet is a Shim coil, and shimming is basically we put metal in the magnet. So in this picture here, I've got highlighted I've got 4 of the trays, and it goes 360 degrees around the bore. And these little trays, they pull out, and in each one of them is small square pieces of metal, what we call shims. And what this does is each piece of metal is placed along that shim in different spacings to help take the beam and keep it at a uniform level. So that means when nothing's in it, we want a nice, clean magnetic field going in and out of the bore. We don't want it to be weak in one area and strong in the other. This keeps it at a steady flow in and out of the magnet. Now there are 36 shim trays in this, and I'll tell you, when you have to pull each one of those out, you better have both hands on them, because that magnet is trying to pull that metal back inside the bore, and you definitely need to be careful when doing this. So another aspect of the magnetic bore is the radio frequency coil. The RF coils are located in the magnetic assembly and are relatively close to the patient body. What these coils do is basically, this is what's going to make your body emit a signal so the MRI can detect the signal and reconstruct it into an image. So basically, you're going into a giant microwave, to say the least. So what the RF frequency does is your body absorbs the frequency and it moves the cells in your body to a point that creates some heat. And when this heat is generated from basically your cells moving, the magnet picks up on the signal and it reconstructs the image of what it saw on how the RF frequency was absorbed in the particular part of your body. Some of the big advantages to using an MRI is there's no radiation. They're currently coming out with a PET MR, which is good because if you have children or something that are sick and they need to be scanned, you're not putting them in something with radiation, or you're limiting the radiation. PET MR does use radiation on the PET side, but if you need to get a scan and you're worried about the patient being in contact with radiated and emitting beams, then you would definitely want to get an MRI. One thing that's good about MRI is it can be used for physiology or anatomy. It's particularly useful in like ligaments, cartilage, brain, organs, abdomens. So you can get your brain scanned and you can literally see all the arteries and the blood flow moving through your vein. They pick up stroke causing clots all the time in brains on patients. And also it's good to see torn ligaments. Like when I was in high school, I tore my ACL, had an MRI. The doctor was able to easily diagnose that I had a torn ACL through my MRI. They can also show blood movement, as I said before, so you can see blood movement through the brain. You can pick up amazing arteries that you would never believe capable of being able to see. And what is also neat about that, say you scan your brain and you want to see all the arteries that are moving through your brain, you can isolate those and you can see them in 3D. So the doctor can literally turn the image any way he wants and look at it through at any angle, because when you scan, it's a 3D scan. So that's my basic presentation of the basics of MRI. There is a ton more that I could go over, but I'm trying to keep this within the time limits. One of the things I can't stress enough is always, if you have a scan that you need to have done in MRI, always make sure you let the MRI techs, if you have a pacemaker or if you have any metal on you, always take it off. And it doesn't even hurt to second guess. I've been doing this for quite a while now, and there's not one time where I walk into a magnet room I'm not checking my pockets and making sure I put my wallet and phone, keys, all that, because it's just a measure of safety for you as a patient and for the people that are scanning you. That is my presentation for leadership communication on the basics of MR. Everybody have a good day.